Happy International oops, Happy International Women's Day to you, and if you're in the UK, happy Back to School Day to you. I hope you're taking a rest, finding a moment, not even just a moment, like solid hours to replenish after the marathon homeschooling episode. So today I'm talking about tantrums, how to have fewer of them, how to help them be less big, and how basically how to help your child be happier. Because if they're having tantrums, like no one's enjoying it, are they? And I'd like to start by telling you about a time, one of my biggest, probably a big parenting fail anyway, was when my son was about 10 or 11, and I'd promised him that he would watch a Harry Potter film at the end of the day. It was a weekend, maybe Saturday or Sunday, can't quite remember. And as it got towards the end of the day, you know how it can happen, the day kind of extended and it got too late, and I thought, oh well, it's going to be too late now to watch a great big film, and so I said, I'm sorry, but we're not going to be able to watch it. And there was this whopper of a tantrum where he was pummeling every surface available. He went bright puce and he was raging and slamming doors. And, first of all, I thought, well, I'll weather this. But then I realized that maybe you already have too, that I'd actually basically messed up. I'd said we'd do something and then I backtracked from his point of view, and it wasn't really fair. And so I just changed my mind. I just decided to change my mind, and we either watched the film or we watched half of it. I can't quite remember. And I still feel okay about that decision, and I'm putting it here, up front, not to say this is the best way to solve tantrums, because clearly it isn't. That would be recipe for disaster if that was our response every time, and sometimes we simply can't even do that. But just to say that occasionally, I think it's okay. I think it's okay to, backtrack, get it wrong, and apologize. So having said that, what is the most important thing to do if you're having a lot of tantrums, or even if you're just having, a few tantrums? Because I believe they're not really necessary. And I think the most important thing that we can do is to start being really observant of our children and kind of curious about why this is happening. Because, if you've been listening to my videos, you'll know that I always say there's always a reason for behavior. So there's always a reason for tantrums. So why is it happening? And if you start observing, being reflective, and you're probably already doing this, and you can see certain patterns emerge. Like the kind of a pattern that may emerge is that, if you don't get out of the house by a certain time on a weekend, then there'll be a tantrum. Or children are bringing tension home from school, so it's a question of how do you help them with that. Or it might be, let me see, I had a couple of other examples. It could be simply a blood sugar low, or it could be a connection deficit. And sometimes those two can go hand in hand. So with a small child, just popping them on your knee and having a little snack together can really do a wonderful reset. So that's, that's a kind of overview of how to start thinking about it. How get curious and then ask yourself, well, how can I help them with that thing? And I'm going to give you 4 strategies or 4 approaches, go-to approaches that tend to help in a lot of cases of tantrums. So the first one is slowing down and being more present. So slow down and be more present. And I'm just going to give the example, say, of an off-to-school morning, right? We've got off-to-school mornings happening all over again now. And these can get quite fraught and tense. And one of the reasons is that we've got a lot of things to do, and we're often in quite a rush. And when we're in a rush, that puts children on edge because they can't really connect with us when we're like that. And that puts them already in, kind of on the back foot. So just slowing down, having eye contact, being there for them, and then going off and doing other stuff helps a lot. I'm thinking there was a lovely epiphany from a father who'd had, there'd been a bit of a meltdown over tights and the fact that his daughter wasn't getting into her tights, and he wasn't enjoying it, she wasn't enjoying it. And I just said to him, just slow down and help her with it. And it was like the scales fell from his eyes. He was like, oh, is it so simple? And sometimes it really is. Just being more present, more available for connection can avert a lot of tantrums. Easier said than done, especially when we've got, more than one child and a lot of things, other things to organise. So sometimes preparing in advance can help as well, just so that you can do that slowing down, being more present thing. Right, so that's number one. Number two is keep your children informed. So here I come with another parenting fail, because I massively didn't do this on one occasion. When my son was about 4, we went to London, and I was actually going off on a day's training, but we didn't tell him until we got to the tube station, where we had to kind of part ways, so to speak. He was going off with my husband. And I just remember that look on his face of complete betrayal, horror, shock when I was going. Now, I really don't know what I was thinking. I mean, I feel embarrassed to share that, but obviously at that time I didn't have this, I didn't understand about children's need to prepare for things. Often we don't want to tell them, partly we may forget, but partly, or just not think it's needed, but partly also we don't want the backlash, we don't want the protest or the disappointment or the, all the emotion that's going to come up when we tell that thing, if it's not going to be a popular thing. So we don't tell them, and it's just really important to understand that can break trust. It can make children also very kind of tense and hyper-vigilant, because they're like, when's the next shocking thing going to happen? It makes sense, doesn't it? So if we tell them, we get the discomfort of them expressing their feelings, but that's also good. They get time to express their feelings and to prepare. And so, yeah, I really recommend that to help children be more settled and to help you have fewer tantrums, basically. So, number 3 is listen to your child's point of view. When they don't like something, it really helps when we give what they have to express around that, really real time to be expressed, and that we show we've heard by repeating back to them what they've said to us. And this is really, it kind of gives them, why does a child have a tantrum? They have a tantrum because they're protesting about something. There's something they don't like, right? So this gives them, if you have that culture in your family of listening to their protests in another way, that gives them another avenue, because you could ask yourself, why is my child having tantrum? Well, one reason might be that they don't feel able to express themselves in this more moderate, more simple way of just, I don't want to do that, or that all the other things that they might say, don't go, or whatever. So developing that culture of really listening can help a lot, and does. It really changes things quite rapidly. If you're having, that situation where you've got tantrums not, to 100 in the space of a split second, because often I hear that, right? This is a really important thing for you to look at. So finally, number 4, be collaborative. If there are things your child doesn't want to do, try and avoid forcing them. Now, I know that there'll be some occasions where you may feel you have to, right? But if you try the other avenues first, those occasions will be reduced to very, very few. And the other avenues are talking with your child about other ways they might, about how to make this process, whatever you're trying to get them to do, easier for them, more acceptable for them. And you can make suggestions there. Often when children are more included, when they're more, they're given some control over the situation, that helps them connect with it, even if it isn't their favourite thing, and makes it more acceptable, so that You don't need to have a tantrum over getting into the car seat, for example. So those were the 4. Slow down, keep your children informed, listen to your child's point of view, and be as collaborative as possible. Just got to have a drink now. And if you like the sound of these, I'm going to be going into them in quite a lot more depth in a free training that I've got coming up. It's actually a week-long challenge, a 5-day challenge, which is called Reset Your Relationship with Your Child. And it's the second time I'm running it, and last time parents had really significant ahas, and also they saw significant change in their children's behavior over the course of the week. And I designed this challenge so that the trainings are really kind of bite-sized, and the little tasks that you get are also bite-sized, so you have these kind of micro shifts each day without it taking over your week or taking up a lot of time, because I want to be very respectful of your time. And I know that just that making a kind of pocket of time to reflect and, you know, to see into deeper patterns in your family, it just reaps such huge rewards. And I'm just putting the finishing touches to the opt-in page. So if you are curious and are interested, then do let me know below. Just put yes or interested or something like that. And I'll be sure to get back to you with the link when the opt-in page is ready. So lots of love to you. If you've enjoyed this, do give me a thumbs up. And I'll be back with you next week. Bye.